10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the freaking frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the freaking frogs gay. Serious crap.
Well, hello. Welcome, ladies and or gentlemen. Hello, all you fuckers. How's everybody doing today? My microphone's not staying where I want it to. Everyone doing well, I presume. I had a live chat in a week, man. It's been a week. What the shit? Oh, almost a week anyway. I see you guys filtering in. I got you. Hola, everyone. We'll do roll call here in a minute because we haven't done that in a while. When people start filtering in, anyway. Let's see. Make sure we've got this pulled up here. There it is. There it is. I like having the YouTube chat pulled up. YouTube's chat is better than the StreamYard chat. I don't know why. It just is. It's just better. It's just better in all ways. There we go. All right. Now we're rolling. What's up, ladies and or gentlemen? Got Tomcats here. We got Duke is maybe out there. Although he left this comment like 20 minutes ago, which means he's already fallen asleep. Let on Steel, Dino Spumoni, Randy Butternubs, California EDC. We got Crash and Kev, Practical Bacon, John Brown. We got Minx Black Veil, who says new here. New? That's a word we love to see. It is. It is. Let's see. There we go. And Timothy Butts. What's up, Mr. Butts? What's up, Bear Paul? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I said ladies and gentlemen like 4 fucking times since this chat started. I'll let you guys in on a little secret here. Two things that hopefully your grandmother told you, or maybe your mom, someone in your family, okay, probably a female, when you were young, hopefully told you this. 2 things that do not mix: bacon grease, really any kind of hot grease, okay? Doesn't just have to be bacon grease, but we use bacon grease as an example. Bacon grease and skin. Those are 2 things that really don't mix at all. I highly recommend you don't try it at home. It's not fun. You know, it may seem fun at first. It may seem like, ooh, I wonder what that would feel like. Let me let you in on a little secret. It doesn't feel good. Okay? And here's another thing. When you go to a doctor, a dermatologist that specials in burns, and you go to like have them look at something, a burn, what you don't want is when you unwrap the burn for the doctor and the nurse both standing in the room to go, huh. That's not very confidence building for the patient. Okay? I'm just going to throw that out there. So if you're a doctor, and I get sometimes as a doctor, trust me, you see some crazy shit. Okay? Just hold it in. Don't do that shit in front of the patient. Okay? Don't do that. Anyway, I don't know where the fuck everybody else is. I sent out links to everybody. But, you know what? It's my fault, though. Because I throw this chat off. Because I was doing stuff at 8 o'clock for years and years and years. And then I started doing stuff at 6 o'clock. And then, like, last week, I did shit at 9 o'clock. And then this week, I'm doing it at 8 o'clock again. I've thrown everybody off. It's my own fucking fault. So it's probably just going to be me. Yes, Patrick Newman, I did get sizzled. My entire arm. If you can see that. Looked, well, actually it doesn't, I mean, it looks bad, but yeah. Anyway. That's not what today's chat's about. It's not about the fact that I'm a dumbass that burned myself with a pan full of bacon grease. Although I do need to kind of rewrap this whilst we're sitting here talking, because I just didn't wrap it up good enough earlier. Although I'm off work tomorrow, so it's not that bad. Ew. That's nasty looking. Y'all want to see something nasty looking before we move on with the chat? Burn right through my tattoo. Can y'all even see? I don't even know if y'all can see that, but anyway. Oh, one thing we should talk about here real quick before we get too much into the put this back down. Before we get too much into the main topic of tonight's chat, which is this idea of civil war, which is what I wanted to talk about tonight. And there's a point to it, I promise. The shooter, bomber, fire bomber from Michigan this weekend. I do want to talk about that briefly. Because it hasn't been talked about much outside of the first couple of days. And the reason it hasn't been talked about much outside of the first couple of days is because it became very apparent very early on that it didn't fit any particular narrative for either side. It was not a political shooting. It was fucked up, and as some of you guys know, it did happen very close to me and Duke, and a few other people. If Patriot in the Dark was here, he's not too far from us either. So it happened close to a few of us here in the Michigan area. Happened about 20 minutes from my house and 5 to 10 minutes from where I work. And yeah, it was a horrible, fucked up thing that happened, but seemingly non-political in any way, shape, or form. And what I mean by that is the guy that did it did not do it because of his politics, and it was not a horrible, awful thing that occurred because of the politics of the people that it happened to, the victims of all of this. What's up, Duke?
What's up, man?
So just giving everybody a little update because I've noticed not much in the news in the way of that shooting from Sunday.
Yeah, I
And-
was watching on your phone. I don't want to mess up your.
No, but I mean, you agree. I think it's the reason we haven't heard much about it is because it became very evident early on. It wasn't political, so it really didn't fit any particular media narrative.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't
And it
fit.
doesn't-
It
Yeah, and
didn't fit right wing or left wing narratives.
Yeah,
So
and the response of the victims is to, I don't know, donate $250,000 to his family.
yeah,
The LDS Church has raised $250,000 for his surviving wife and child. So it doesn't. That's not juicy. That's not
yeah.
like horror porn or whatever they want to call it. Like, that's just amazing. Man, that's a that's a hard response in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. That's a very forgiving and loving people. I would have a hard time in my grief being at the point where I would
weird.
forgive.
I can't imagine any other group doing that. Yeah, pick
No.
any group, political, religious, whatever, that would do that. It's. I mean, I mean, I have no objections to it because I mean,
Very
I feel awful for his wife and kid that we're already going through a hard time because for those that don't know, the kid is sick. He has I forget, there's a name for it, but essentially his body produces too much insulin and can't process it. And we were talking earlier about the son. He was trying to get the son baptized, and I wonder if that's part of it. The fact that his son was sick and he was trying to get stuff done for his son, and
yeah.
if there was just a whole bunch involved in this. I mean, regardless of what the reasonings were, it's fucked up and evil and shit.
Yeah. But there's gotta be there's gotta be an event. That pushes him over the edge. And just to be transparent, like I was telling you today, I met a guy at karate class who is best friends with this guy.
Yeah.
And told me that he had no idea of any,
described best friends, right? Like he said.
Yeah. Like, talked about hunting with this guy for hundreds of times. He described a relationship of like really good friendship. He liked this guy. He brought this guy around his kids. And I thought this guy that I know is a pretty nice stand-up guy. So I would say he would not bring some, loose cannon weirdo or drug addict around anybody. So the things that I had somewhat presumed of, when you think of these things of was there drugs or psychosis involved, he just said that wasn't anything he was aware of, and said, he got a visit from the FBI like that day, which was just, it just blew my mind, man. I mean, this is just down the street from you. This is down the street.
I don't think people can realize how close it is to us.
Like, yeah, it's the next town over. Like, from you, from our area. Like, it's just down the road. We know people. There are people that we know that like go to that church. Yeah, we know. I know there's someone on my street where I live, further than Matt, but there's a person on my street who grew up going to that church.
Yeah,
like that. It is a pretty large church, pretty influential. When it comes to like the LDS, I've got some Mormon friends that are on my street that we're pretty close with, and that's a very tight knit community, and they're large footprint though, man.
Yeah, but yeah, I wanted to talk about it for just a little bit, just because I've noticed that it's not really getting talked about in the news, and so people are kind of left wondering like, why did this get dropped? And the reason is simple: it's because it doesn't fit a political narrative. So right now it's not the end thing to talk about. It's not, it's not cool. So they found out pretty quickly that it was, something altogether different. And so they kind of just were like, eh. I mean, you've had a few people come out of the woodwork and go, look, see, another white man committed a mass shooting. I mean, technically that's true. But it wasn't political at all. It had nothing to do with Trump or any of these other things. Although, by all accounts, the dude, at least back in 2019 and 2020, was a Trump supporter.
I mean, but like, I
but-
feel like that's a cheap cop out. Like, there was two options. You either wore a Biden shirt or you wore a Trump shirt, or you were like many people who just made a choice and didn't make it their personality.
Yeah.
But like, you know, that's a reach. I think even on the other side, like if I saw him with a Biden Harris shirt, I wouldn't automatically assume, oh, he loves Biden. Like, okay, he had a shirt. Like,
yeah,
all right, you know.
Well, and for political reasons, it would make more sense. Like if he was doing it for political reasons, shooting up a church, it would make more sense if he was on the left. You'd be like, oh, there's a chance that might be political.
Yeah, I think my thing was like, it was just strange to me because I just don't see the correlation of anything. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because everything we've heard doesn't make, like, it could only make sense in a deranged mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to be honest on my end, a couple of vet sites had said there was a vet article that stated exactly when he was in Fallujah, and he beat me to Fallujah by like 4 months. And then we were in Fallujah at the same time. I don't remember this guy. I mean, we're all skinnier with less hair. So, I mean, like, you know, I mean, like, I don't remember this guy, but he wasn't in my unit. I don't remember. I knew most guys that were in adjacent units, and I don't remember that name. And I think he said he was a truck driver, so he would have been Motor T, and I was pretty close with Motor T because they drove us everywhere. So
it's something about he drove a wrecker.
Yeah, and see the wrecker. See, that would make sense to be like, oh my gosh, what was it? Combat Logistics Battalion. CLB was Combat Logistics Battalion. CLB 4, CLB 3. They were adjacent to us, and that he could have been there. That would make sense. I didn't hear about the wrecker part, but the wrecker guys were like Combat Logistics Battalions. They were the guys with like really big trucks and really good wrecker stuff. So that would make sense.
So
yeah, but anyway,
but fucked up scenario. But yeah, just thought I'd give an update for people who were wondering what the fuck happened to that, because I mean it's only been 5 days and it's already like completely out of the news cycle. So
yeah, weird.
But I want to get to the point of today's chat, and the title of tonight's chat sounds volatile. It does, but there's a reason for it. I promise. That is not volatile. The idea behind it is how to prepare for a civil war and why. Now, we can sit there and go over all the obvious reasons that we've been talking about on YouTube for fucking years about why you should always be prepared for stuff. But I think a reason that I don't think we've ever really talked about, given the public nature of society at this point in time, with social media and just, you know, everything that exists where we all just know a whole lot more about each other and our opinions and things like that. I think in the same way that us gun guys have always used the idea of an armed society is a polite society, in the same vein of that, I think being prepared for the absolute worst, which I would put civil war up there, right?
Yeah.
And making it known is a good prevention tactic. I think if you have a society, and it's not guaranteed, but I think if you have a society that is aware that people are ready for a worst case scenario, you have a higher likelihood of preventing that worst case scenario. In many different ways, much in the same way of and I forget his name, the Japanese, was it the emperor who said, you know, hey, behind every blade of grass would be a rifle?
No, it was one of the generals.
It was one of the generals. I can't remember who it was.
Matamoto. I can't remember. I got to look it up. But yeah, it's one of the generals who kind of planned and orchestrated Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. And the reason he thought like that was because of the very public nature of society at the time, even without social media and the internet and all these things. The American population was very aware that the world was on edge. And there was very, very real fears. And I remember this from older family members. Very, very real fears that we were going to get invaded.
Yeah.
Now, logistically, we can look back on that and think that's ridiculous. Germany and Japan would have had no chance even back then. And it would have been logistically fucking insane for them to even try. But it was a very real public fear. And people fearing that bad thing happening and then readying themselves in case it did. Just that act in and of itself of readying themselves was a deterrent from bad things happening.
Oh, yeah.
Not, again, that they would have happened anyway, because you'd have to have been insane. Although, if anybody was going to do it, it would have been Japan at that time, because they were pretty fucking insane. Germany never would have fucking tried. But Japan was pretty fucking crazy at the time. I mean, as far just as a nation state, like they were kind of willing to do some shit that a lot of people haven't been willing to do. But I think it's important. I think talking about the idea that this level of social strife we are in right now has hit a point that I would say, if you look historically to different countries and nation states and different periods in time where you see the level of civil discourse having dropped to where it is now, and civil strife, not just between like citizens and a government, which certainly that's there here, but also between citizens themselves, neighbor against neighbor kind of thing. I mean, it's very easy to make the correlation that, you know, we've been in a cultural civil war for a long time, and we are certainly in a high level of civil strife that could easily be looked at. And certainly, I mean, I think there's an argument to be made that future generations would look at a situation like what we're in right now as like, oh yeah, that was the early stages of a civil war. Now that doesn't mean we get there, but like the whole Bleeding Kansas thing, which I don't know, do you know about that? Which was like the actual, you know, our Civil War, where they were actually like engaged in civil war for like 10 years before the actual Civil War started.
Yes, I do know about that. Yes.
Where they're like neighbors killing neighbors, and you know, this side was going after a church that was anti-slavery, and then this side would go after a church that was pro-slavery, and they were attacking local politicians and killing them, and neighbors were killing each other. And this was going on for years before the actual Civil War started. Right. But you look back at history now and you say, oh yeah, that was when the Civil War started. You could like see it starting there. I think there's in a lot of ways we're there, and I hope we don't progress beyond this point. But I think being ready for those things is necessary. It's an unfortunate necessity, I should say. But I think it's necessary. And I think, again, if others know that large groups or large percentages of the population have readied themselves for really bad times, maybe, just maybe, it prevents the other side from starting shit. It's not a guarantee. And hell, there have probably, I'm sure, been times historically where that was just an instigation. But regardless of whether or not it comes off as an instigation or preventative, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is you should be ready for really bad shit. Now, a lot of us, hopefully, live in areas where you don't really see this that much, right? Other than the random one-off. Most people in this country, unless you live in Portland or Seattle or LA or Washington or Chicago, pick a handful of other places, most of us don't see the level of shit we're talking about here, of civil strife, on a daily, weekly, monthly, or even yearly basis, right? Like occasionally you may hear about some random thing fucking happening in your town, but for the most part, most of us live in areas where that kind of thing, the political levels of strife we're talking about, you just don't see it. That doesn't mean it's not happening. And that doesn't mean it's not happening in major population centers where it's having a large effect on a large amount of people that is then reverberating throughout our society. It just means you're not seeing it outside of like watching shit on the news that happened somewhere else hours away from you.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it can't happen. And that doesn't mean you should be lazy and not fucking be ready in case really fucked up ass shit does happen. Now, again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, which was not political, but that's certainly an example of some crazy ass fucking shit happening in our area. Where people just were not, it never even guaranteed crossed anybody's mind that was ever going to be an issue.
Nope.
That something 100%. Like that would have happened.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, with that situation, it was actually taken care of pretty quickly. I mean, within 8 minutes of that incident starting, that guy got put down.
Yeah.
Which is pretty goddamn good, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's pretty fucking good.
Now, I did read something from an individual who was there, who has given an account that he is a concealed weapons holder, and he chose not to carry that day. And he recounts seeing the shooter either having a double feed or a jam, and that he had an opportunity where he could have engaged and did not have an opportunity. And I tell you this story because I was told that it was true. I watched it, I talk about it, but also to encourage you to never be in that situation yourself.
Yeah.
Because the day you choose to, I don't want to say be lazy, because I said lazy. My wife was like, oh, that's a bad word. I'm like, you take your safety for granted. You know what I mean? For granted.
Well, and look,
that's the problem.
Dude,
yeah.
we've all done it. I've certainly done it before. I'm like, it's just a hassle to fucking strap up today. And I just want to go do this thing. And I've certainly done it where I've just not carried, in a situation going somewhere or something. Unfortunately, nothing ever happened, but that obviously does not mean nothing ever could happen. I've done that.
Right.
Where you just are like, what are the chances that me running to the grocery store right now, or this one time I want to go to the movies, or whatever it may be, what are the chances this is the time and this is the exact place something bad is going to happen? Exactly. And you're like, and so you just don't. And fortunately for most people, which is most gun owners, I would say, that have probably done that a time or two, most of the time, nothing bad does happen. But we are definitely in a period of I would say, the highest level of political and civil strife that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I mean that obviously, from the perspective of American society, obviously throughout my lifetime, whether it be, the first Iraq war or everything that happened after Afghanistan, or looking on the news and seeing multiple things happening across the world. Yeah, we've seen tons of civil strife, but I'm talking about here in the United States. This is the worst it has been in my lifetime. Worse than any point in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s. Pretty much everything has just slid downhill severely since, COVID and the summer of love. And it was pretty bad. I mean, it was getting pretty bad for Trump's first term from, 2016 to 2020. It's gotten way fucking worse. So, I mean, whether you want to put yourself in the mindset of like, oh, it's a it's a Civil War thing or it's a, you know, conceal carry thing. I mean, to me, it works out. It works out to be the same. Like, to me, it's all a wash. It's the same end result. It's the same level of fucking preparation.
Yeah.
You know, as far as just being fucking ready and hoping that if enough people are ready all the time and enough people know enough people are ready all the time, you help to prevent that. Again, this is real basic shit. This is nothing new. You know, gun owners have been talking about the whole polite society thing for a long time. Gun owners, we've been talking about, you know, how gun-free zones are, you know, soft target areas for a long time. And the idea is just pretty simple. It's a big discouragement. It's a big deterrent to a lot of bad people who want to do bad things if they think that potentially any area they go into is going to be radically ready for them.
Yeah.
To come back with extreme levels of violence if they try some shit.
I think that's the only way to combat these things is to not only be ready, but to market yourself as ready.
Yeah.
I think if you're the thing you're kind of talking about, whether it's, you know, making yourself a hard target from an active shooter as an organization or from a Civil War standpoint, FOFA, and you will FOFA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to, like, I think when places put signs on their building that say like armed staff trained to engage, you know what I mean? We'll use deadly force in protection of our facility or something like that. Those are very strong points to make to say like, this ain't the place. And they'll go find somewhere else that doesn't have, you know, armed staff or armed patrons or armed parishioners. You know what I mean? I would market it that way. Hey, we're armed. You're not going to think twice to defend ourselves. Yeah. So go somewhere else.
Well, it's like I was watching in the last week or so, Steven Crowder's been talking about all the assassination attempt stuff. And he's just being like, people are trying to take what he's saying and being like twisting his words and shit. But I think he's done a good job of explaining it. He's, you know, basically said, we are prepared to go to extremely violent levels to defend ourselves.
Yep.
And he's you know, and defend yourself, not offense, not go out there and attack people, but if you're going to come to us, we will go to unheard of levels of violence.
Exactly.
To push you back. So don't fuck with us. Just stop. Yep. Just stop and think about that we are fucking done fucking trying to play the nice guy and not come off as aggressive and all this bullshit. No.
Yep.
And I think it's unfortunate, but I think that is a necessary attitude to have right now. Now, again, for not, you know, I mean, most of us live in places where that is not an attitude you have to have all the time out of sheer necessity. Does that mean you shouldn't have that attitude just in case? No, it doesn't. And that's kind of what the point is you should have I think we've hit a point where you just need to have that attitude. You need to have the attitude that at any point in time, because of the level of civil strife going on in the country right now, that you just need to be on guard. And it sucks that we've hit a point where I feel like people need to live in that mindset, but I think we're there.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Well, let me add a little bit to that because I can't talk much because technically I'm at work. But the whole thing that sucks about it is you won't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It may differ from certain areas where you live at and all that. Hell, it might not be no, you know, like civil war strife against each other until like we probably like old men or something.
Yeah.
Or it could be even early in a couple of years. We don't know.
Or it could be tomorrow, depending on where you live and whether or not, you know, some Antifa fuckstick motherfucker decides this is the day I'm going to snap. or some anti-ICE fucking protesters decide this is the day we're going to make a fucking point,
So
or whatever.
I heard a really good scenario that I had not thought about. And this is a scenario that I think would kick off a civil war. And it would be something as simple as this. Federal troops arrive in Chicago to help stay the mass violence and crime. And they encounter gang members who are completely defiant to the presence of the U.S. Army. And you have, I'm talking like a squad size element of infantrymen in the National Guard or whatever it is, the Army, who show up, and they are in a full-on firefight with gang members. And you have like that kind of violence would be a spark that would light a fire on both sides, because play the scenario both ways. A bunch of gang members who were engaged in combat with the U.S. Army are all killed. That's going to be a rough optic, right? Put on reverse, a whole platoon gets wiped out by gang members with Dracos. Like that's enough right there. That's going to be enough
it's
right
possible.
there.
I can see where you're coming from, Duke. It's possible to happen. Luckily, most gang members are kind of cowards, but there are some that don't give a fuck in areas like Chicago, for example, or where Antifa's at, all the way up in there in Washington. A little bit in my area in California, I can see that, but a lot of them have been more laying low for the most part. They ain't trying to get involved with that. It don't even have to be the National Guard. It could be even ICE agents.
Yeah. And I real quick, I want to address something in the chat. Jumpy says, "Why would you be next to an ICE facility?" I don't know. Maybe you're going to pick up some Little Caesars pizza, and I say that completely serious, not because that's something that I deal with now, but that's something I dealt with for 23 years where I lived in Texas. Literally everywhere was next to an ICE facility where I lived in South Texas, where millions and millions of people live. Like, there was an ICE facility next to the Little Caesars that we went to go pick up pizza for the kids. There was also a GameStop there. There was also a place to get your hair cut, and a gas station, and a church, and a million other things on that corner of the road where we lived, where we were there all the time. There are parts of the country where ICE facilities, Border Patrol facilities are right next to everyday shit. These places are not just some little remote in the middle of fucking nowhere, miles away from everybody else's buildings. These places are in the middle of fucking neighborhoods and businesses and things like that. So that's why you might be next to an ICE facility. Now, I just use that as an example.
I mean, that also, they throw up temporary buildings. So a temporary building will be right next to your house. Like, you just never know.
So, but no, I mean, that was a good question. Because, if you don't live someplace where you have to deal with that, you don't think about that. And you're like, wait, why would anybody be near an ICE facility? Well, it's because they're right there, And so it doesn't really matter that, it's an ICE facility. It's right there in the middle of everything else. And it doesn't even have to be an ICE facility. I mean, if you look at the stuff like what's going on in Portland, and Seattle and a few other places, right? With Antifa. Yes, sometimes they are targeting federal buildings. Now, some of these federal buildings are, again, right in the middle of an area where there's lots of other businesses and people walking by, and people driving by, and people are working there, and there are houses right up the street and things like that. And sometimes they're targeting businesses, when they go and do the fucked up shit that they're doing with the firebombing and the, whatever. And also there's been instances where law enforcement is getting attacked in the middle of a fucking residential neighborhood. And again, I don't say that because of law enforcement, but just in how it affects the citizens that may be in close proximity to any of those things that happen. So, yeah, I think it is something. And the levels to which you should be prepared for quote unquote civil war, right? I mean, I don't think there's really any difference between that and what we've been talking about for a really long time, as just as far as general prepping. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any difference. So there's nothing radical here. There's no new, like, oh, this is a thing that you've never thought of before that you should do because of this situation. No, I would say the one thing that is different, and I get with social media and all the things going on right now, trust me, I understand that you can't just, you know, you may be concerned about going out and like getting on social media and announcing a bunch of shit about who you are and what you're ready for, because people will fear they might lose their job or this or that or whatever else. I get that. And that's certainly a valid concern, especially depending on where you live. You know, you may live if you live in a more liberal area, and you may work for a company that has more liberal values, that may not be the kind of thing you want to advertise. But I do think it's important for a decent chunk of the population to be open about the fact that they are ready for conflict, and not ready in the sense that they're looking forward to it. Nobody is. If anybody is, you're fucked up. You've got fucking problems if you're looking forward to this shit. Like, and trust me, I'm sure we all in here have known people that actually like were kind of getting a hard on for some boogaloo shit. Okay, those people are fucked up, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the unfortunate necessity of being ready for these things, even though you do not want to.
Yeah, it's not me at all. I don't have a hard on right now for it.
You don't? You always have a hard on, motherfucker. What the hell are you talking about? Wow.
I don't wish for this at all.
Yeah, I know. Well, and you're right there in the middle of fucking Chicago.
Yep.
What's it like right now with everything going on there? Because I know that the National Guard and everything has already moved in there, and I've been hearing. Here's what I've been hearing, and you tell me if this is accurate. Here's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing either news media mouthpieces say that this is a violation and that this is wrong, and I've been hearing the mayor of New York come out and talk about how wrong this is and how it is racist and disturbs businesses and all these things. But then the only people that live in New York that are like posting on social media and things like that I've heard. I'm sorry, Chicago.
Right.
Fucking
Wait a minute. All right.
The only people from Chicago that I've heard like posting on social media and things like that are like, yeah, I'm glad they're here. So okay. No, go ahead. That's what I want to know. What's the actual consensus of people that actually live there on how they feel about it?
It's been, from what I've seen, it's been 50-50. It's either people that actually supports it outright, and they're saying deport them all. Mm-hmm. And there's other people that just come out with these wild conspiracies saying black people are next for some reason. I don't know where we're going to get deported to, but we're next. So it's been 50-50 on the people.
Yeah. Oh, Shot Red's got something for you there, Leo. Leo got stiff. He can't wait for those $5 mouth hugs. $5? That's a bargain, sir.
Yeah, too bad it doesn't happen much, right? They also up their prices, so no more $5 mouth hugs. Yeah,
that's a shame.
Yeah, well, it sucks. Yeah.
Inflation's made everything go up. Yeah. So, But yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's time for everybody to and look. I mean, as a prepper, and I feel like I'm just repeating myself the same way I've been repeating myself for 15 years on YouTube. I'm not saying anything different. It's just for different reasons. You know, like the things you should be doing and preparing, you know, on a daily basis, and carrying your gun and making sure you you know, have medical supplies and extra food in your house, and you know, you've stocked up on ammo and all these things. Like, none of that has changed, but the reasoning for it has, because I think, and maybe this is in some weird, small, fucked up way, a good thing for people's inspiration, because I think for a long time it's been really difficult for some people to put themselves in the mindset of, you know, well, what actually is the worst case scenario that could happen? Like, you can talk about it, and we can talk about zombies, and we can talk about, you know, Mad Max end of the world shit, and we can talk about 100 different things. But those are things that, while, you know, look, all possibilities are on the table. They're just different likelihoods for different scenarios. Those are still all things that we've not actively, like, seen in our lifetimes. So you're putting yourself in a you know, hypothetical mindset to prepare for those things. There's nothing hypothetical about what we've been seeing lately in the last few years, and certainly in the last couple of months. There's nothing hypothetical about the levels of violence, politically motivated, us versus them violence that we've been seeing. That's pretty easy to fucking picture and understand. This shit is absolutely real. It's happening to real people in real neighborhoods, you know. So maybe it's in some fucked up ass way an inspiration to get people to start doing some things they probably should have been doing before, which is sad that we have to have those types of things. But look, we're all like that, right? Like, we all are a little bit, quote unquote, lazy when it comes to things we know we should do, and then sometimes something happens and it kicks your ass into gear, and you're like, oh shit, yeah. But yeah, I think it's important. And like I said, there's no big grand changes between stuff that your average prepper would be getting ready for and what would be required for what we're talking about. But we are, I do believe we are, it sounds so dramatic, but I think it's true. I do believe we are at a tipping point. Now, it is a tipping point that is, I think, contrary to what most people assume, because none of us have ever really been through a civil war scenario firsthand. But I think we've hit a tipping point that has just been slowly building and building and building and building, being egged on by politicians and the media and public sentiment, and, you know, heightened levels of cultural, you know, divide. I think COVID, I think the Trump first term really accelerated a lot of shit that we had seen. And I think COVID made that 10 times worse. I think the Biden, you know, 4 years of Biden certainly didn't help. Nothing got toned down for those 4 years. And now Trump's back, and that is just, you know, and we talked about this last year, because I remember us having several conversations last year. Well, what happens? This was before the election. What happens if Trump gets elected? And we even talked about this right after the election. Okay, Trump won the Electoral College, and he won the popular vote. Surely at this point, media and the left will realize they have been just spurging out and rambling on like insane people about this thing, and nobody's fucking buying it, because, you know, it's been 2 decades since a Republican won the popular vote, and now the Republican did win the popular vote, surely the media and the politicians will calm down their rhetoric, realizing that people haven't been buying their shit. And we had multiple conversations of like, I don't know, I think they double down. And sure as shit, they have 100% doubled and tripled down on the rhetoric.
Yeah,
like just out the gate.
Look at Charlie Kirk. Look at Charlie Kirk. They spouse that he was this racist, homophobe, and all this other horrible things about him, which he's a fascist. Okay, and then what's that one trash bag's name?
Destiny.
No, her name is the female.
Her?
Somalia.
Yeah,
and today I saw her with Don Lemon.
She did,
and she said that I know she said this on purpose. She said he didn't deserve to be murdered like that, and like that's a specific way to say it, like that. And the people who were commentating didn't catch that, but I did. But it's like her rhetoric of continuing to spouse these falsities and like these lies, and they're totally fine with it all because it goes with their agenda, and that's what they want. They want them everyone amped up like it's going to be this big huge fight and war, and that's exactly what they want.
I'm not calling for the murder of white people yet.
Well, Don Lemon says there's something broken in white men. Like, no, dog, we're all right.
That's what they said in South Africa, right? That's what you was quoting?
Yep.
Yep.
That is from South Africa.
Yeah.
And as far as Don Lemon goes, he's just upset because he keeps coming inside of white men.
Well, I mean, he's an activist in the streets and being colonized in the sheets. I mean, he's just
right. No, and I say this on Honda's show. This is only just year one of Trump's presidency.
Not even a full year yet.
Presidency. Right. I can't even say presidency. Presidency, right? Yeah, but this is year one. Just only year one.
Yeah. It's a clusterfuck, and it's been amped up by the media and the politicians on the left, and that's not to say there probably haven't been some people on the right that have amped up rhetoric since Trump's been president.
Who?
Well, I'm just benefit of the doubt, but my experience in the last 9 months of Trump being president is I've not heard any mainstream politicians or media pundits come out and amp anything up. In fact, quite the opposite. What I've heard is, hey, the American people have spoken. He won the Electoral College and he won the popular vote. Now it's time for us to have some conversations and try to figure this shit out in a reasonable, well-mannered way. That is what I've heard from the right.
And have control of House and the Senate.
Yeah.
Right. You would think they would do a great reset. Like, okay, this is not working.
Yeah.
They're doubling down. No, the Democrats are on the run. They're in disarray, and they're not getting it. There's a ton of people who have shifted, who don't care, who see through the lies, and they're doubling down. And the only way that they can try to survive is to bring in illegals to fund their party, because everyone's leaving their party.
Yeah.
Or to threaten public free speech with violence, such to the point where no one's willing to debate or have any kind of a public forum where they speak like this to kids. Because I think that they've identified what Charlie Kirk was doing, rightfully, as effective, as something that was moving the needle towards conservatism in college-aged youth, which ideologically should be theirs, right? They've had them for how many years in public schools, and now you're in the university system, being daily brainwashed by multiple different professors in multiple different areas of your understanding of the world. Like, of course these kids are going to be coming out of there. But, as I often say, we as teenagers and as young 20-something-year-olds, at least I'll speak for myself, I rebelled against whatever the hegemony, whatever the authority, whatever the school or the teacher or the whoever would tell me to do or have me learn or whatever it was. I was just naturally rebellious. And there's a certain percentage of youth that are naturally rebellious. And when that is that's the thing, you know, like, oh, you got to be woke. Of course they're going to be like, fuck that shit. I'm going full fucking conservative.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is that among Gen X and millennials, the birth rate between left and right is radically different, right? So more right-leaning millennials and Gen X have had kids by a lot than people on the left. Now that's certainly adding to it, especially when you add to the fact that you've got all these people, and it's not like a huge chunk. I mean, the percentage of the population is still the lowest it's been. Gen Z is the smallest population, the smallest percentage of the population, like, period, because so few Gen X and millennials have had kids. But out of the ones that have had kids, it's like on the right, I think it's between 1.9 and 2.5 kids, and on the left it's like 0.9, right? So you've got a system in place where the mainstream and what you should not rebel against is woke ideology. And on the other side of that, you've got the majority of the kids who are of an age to rebel against that woke ideology were already raised up on the right. You know what I mean? So you've got kind of a perfect storm of a lot of young people who are ready to rebel against the woke machine. Which, I mean, obviously, I think is a good thing. Oh, what did you say?
There's someone from Brownsville. Look at that.
Let me get this super chat from Shot Red. Says, so I am half broken or a quarter broken? Well, pick one, man. The procrastinating prepper from Brownsville. What's up? My old not hometown. I mean, I did live in Brownsville for a while, but I lived just north of Brownsville most of the time. What's up, procrastinating prepper? How do I know you? You're from Brownsville. Do I know you? I'm just curious.
I mean, how long did you live in the Brownsville area? 23
years. 23 years, right up until February of this year. Omito. I lived in Rancho Viejo. Lived in Rancho Viejo the majority of the last 23 years.
That means Old Ranch.
Yes. It is also literally, I mean, like half the time when I would put in my address, it would, you know, how when you go to buy something or do something online and you go to put in your address and it auto-fills your information?
Yeah, it's always wrong.
Yeah, well, every time I would go to put in my address, it would auto-fill the city to Omito. Because they're the Omito and Rancho Viejo are two really small towns that are literally, they touch each other and they share the same zip code and they're right there. So I know exactly where Omito is. So you know George and a group of old gamers, I think. Yeah, probably. So
what'd you do to your arm? Whacking off too hard?
No.
Who's opening candy right now?
I got severely burned. Burned my entire arm. 2nd degree burns.
What did you do?
Really?
Yeah. So, quick tip for anybody that wasn't here at the beginning of the chat. 2 things that don't mix. Boiling hot bacon grease and skin. Duke's seen it. I sent him pictures.
Oh.
He was thoroughly disgusted and grossed out when I sent him pictures.
Duke looks like he's seen one up close.
He hasn't seen it in person because every time he's seen me, I've had it wrapped up because I have to have it wrapped up so it doesn't get infected. But yeah, now I'm worried about I may or may not have to have my tattoos redone on the back of my arm.
God damn, are you disfigured?
Oh yeah, it's bad. Yeah, I mean, it's second degree burns. So fortunately, it wasn't third degree. So it didn't burn through all the layers of my skin, but it burnt through a lot of layers of my skin. So, yeah, like I was telling people at the beginning of the chat, what you don't want when you go to a dermatologist who specializes in, burn wounds is for when you unwrap your bandage for both the doctor and the nurse in the room who are there to look at it to go, ugh. Because that's what happened to me on Monday.
Wow, that's fun.
So, yeah, I am currently fucking disfigured. So it's all fucked up and nasty. Look, I got like a piece of skin all right here that's starting to slide off, but I have to keep it on because it protects what's underneath. So I can't you can't just fucking rip it off. It's fucking nasty shit, man. It's the worst I've ever been burned. Not that I've been burned a lot in my life.
I thought
I got a couple little bad burns here and there, but nothing it's. I mean, you can see my fingers. It's burnt all the way up to my fingers, and that's nothing. This is just where it barely touched my fingers, but it's all down my hand, all down here. You can't see it because I'm not going to uncover it, but the whole back of my arm is dark brown all over where my tattoos are. And then there's what looks like drip marks coming down the sides of my arms on both sides because the fucking grease dripped down. And as it dripped down around my arm, it burnt everything.
How did you, I have questions. How did this happen?
Right.
How did this happen? So,
get on your arm, dude.
Here's the weird thing. I was making a 1-pan breakfast sandwich. Okay? And I don't know what the fuck happened. I cooked 3 pieces of bacon, 2 eggs, and I was toasting up a couple of biscuits in the pan. So I had the bacon grease and a little bit of butter I had put in the pan for the eggs. And I cooked everything. And I took everything out and put it on the plate. And then I picked up the pan, and I've got my stove and then cabinet space and then my sink. And I picked up the pan and moved this way to put it in the sink. And apparently I moved too fast. And when I moved this way, all the fucking grease and butter and everything from the pan just came out of the pan and went up over my arm as I was moving to the sink. I didn't realize that a little bit of butter and 3 pieces of bacon would produce that much fucking grease that would completely saturate the back of my hand and my arm. But it does.
Was the sandwich good?
The sandwich? I don't know. I was making it for my wife. She said it was delicious. I didn't even get any of the fucking sandwich. So the cool thing is now I have something to hold over her about how I disfigured myself so that I could make her food. So that's always good. You know what I mean?
You didn't put your foot in it, but you did put your arm in it.
Yeah.
That sandwich.
Yeah. I've been, I'm 48 years old. I've been cooking for a while, and I've never had that happen. And I guess, like I said, I think I must have just moved too quickly. The pan.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
And and everything that was in the pan came out of the pan and went all over my arm. So, yeah. This happened on Sunday morning. And then I didn't go to the doctor because I couldn't get an appointment until Monday. So, but.
What? I mean, you go to the emergency room.
Dude, I ain't fucking sitting in the goddamn emergency room. All right. First of all, I've taken first aid classes. My wife has fucking worked in the medical field for a while. We had everything we needed to take care of it. It was fine. There was nothing that we couldn't do that the emergency room would have done. And I'm not fucking paying an emergency room bill, much less sitting in an emergency room for fucking hours waiting to get seen, when I can just fucking go to the doctor the next day, wrap it up, take care of it, got it cleaned off, got it cooled off, hosed it down with water, ice packs to keep the swelling down.
Infected? Why would you even go to the doctor?
If what?
Unless it gets infected, I don't see any reason to even go to the doctor.
I just wanted them to check it out, and they gave me some antibiotic ointment, some like prescription strength antibiotic ointment to keep on it, to keep it from getting infected.
Fair
so,
enough.
And plus, you need the doctor's note to keep off work.
Yep.
I didn't even take off work. I went to the doctor after work. So, I haven't missed any work because of this. Just keep it wrapped up.
Man, I'm taking a week off.
No, I mean I'm still functional, and it hurt for a few hours really bad after it first happened, and then your body starts kicking in and like starts to fucking like bubble up, and like anyway, it really hasn't hurt. It itches a little bit, and I mean it's sensitive, but it's not.
Oh, sorry.
It's hard to tell from this picture right here. That's the first day. It looks way worse than that now.
Unwrap it. Show us now.
Look at that bubble on my hand.
It, dude, I want to see it.
No, I don't. No,
I don't.
Yeah, fucking.
Right.
Let's see this bitch. Bust
All
it
right,
out.
I'll show
Then
you.
you got to put a whole new bandage on.
No, I'm just gonna reuse this one. Hold up.
Yeah, take it off. It's gonna stick to you now. It's all fucking. Oop, there it is. Sticky.
Well, there's part of my arm.
I mean, really, it's not. It doesn't look that bad. Really.
Look at the grease strip down.
Yeah. And then my hand. That's as much as I'm gonna unwrap it.
Actually, it kind of makes it look more badass. Yeah, think about it.
So,
like, I got this in Nam.
Yeah.
You got Splotchy Agent Orange.
it looks way better than it did. The first day before it had swollen up, it didn't look that bad. That's what that picture was from. And then
Dino Spumoni's right. It looks like a penis.
Yeah. I've got like fucking flaps of skin hanging off around my tattoo.
Just like
Wait,
a penis.
What do y'all penises look like? How does that look like a penis?
I'm not the one that said it looked like a fucking penis. So
Right.
Well, pull it out again, and then pull out your penis.
So anyway. Yeah. So that was fun.
Dude, is your guys' jobs fucking you over right now?
No.
Yes.
Because mine is. Are you black, Matt?
That's what I'm saying. Like that just happened. That's actually what that was. That was my fucking. I think I got to change the battery on my fucking smoke.
I didn't know Matt was part black. At least.
I
thought his arm was smoking again.
I mean, I had my
I thought the arm was smoking.
Yeah, that's exact because I've got that.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yep. Fuck, dude.
Just
that just happened.
Do you have any batteries? Go fix it now. Show us your whiteness.
All right. Plus, put the camera on it so I know how it's done.
Do an instructional video.
Right, yeah. I need instructional video.
Dude, I got a friend of mine at work named Cliff, and he's fucking great. He's also like, I call him a kid. He's like my son's age. And there it is. It's gonna come keep going. He's a good dude. In fact, he's getting married next week, and we're gonna go to the wedding. But he's black, and so I'll sit there when we're at work, and I'll just put like some I'll put like that fucking sound on my phone, and I'll just be sitting in there and just doing some shit, and then I'll play it, and then I won't even acknowledge that it happened, and he'll just sit there like, what the fuck was that? Oh, I love racism. It's hilarious.
Literally 2 days ago, right in our basement, right, it's starting to chirp, and I asked, is anybody going to change that? Nobody said nothing. So I'm like, okay, right.
Yep.
Well, fuck it. He's going to let it chirp.
Yep. Here, let me get these super chats real quick. Episode Home says, could you smell yourself cooking? No, I just smelled bacon. So maybe that was it. I could just smell bacon. That was all I could smell. Well, that's what the whole kitchen smelled like. Did you leave when I was showing my burn, you pussy?
No, shut the fuck up. I went to go get my wife gas, and I didn't set myself on fire by doing something for my No,
okay.
No, but why are we not playing Left 4 Dead? Because now I'm looking at Tarman. So
we can play Left 4 Dead. I'm down.
I mean,
let me get these super chats. It's past time for me to end the show anyway, but let me get these super chats. Shotred says, Matt, put some cocoa butter on that burn. Fuck no. Aloe vera, maybe, not fucking cocoa butter.
Put some mayonnaise on it. Rub some cold mayonnaise on that thing and feel real good after that.
Mrs. Scary says, for the amputation fund. The amputation fund. Yeah. No, it's good.
Now I think about
the doctor said it was what I was telling Duke the other day. The doctor said it was bad, but it looked really good for how bad it was.
My wife saw it and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's bad. He needs to go to the doctor now." It's exactly what she said. She said, "Oh, that he needs to be in the doctor."
Yeah. So, but anyway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody out there watching, we're gonna go ahead and shut this down. I will be back tomorrow night. We'll do some more. Tomorrow night. Hope you guys have a great Friday, and hope you enjoyed our Civil War chat. It was so light and uplifting. But we'll be back. You guys have fun, and as always, deuces, yo, shall not pee in fridge, all that good shit, and we'll see you guys later. Take it easy, guys.
Shot another pressure.